Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. In today's video, we will talk about how to run a suite of APIs or a collection of APIs using Newman. Now this will be useful when you're testing a bunch of APIs, and like by bunch I mean like a large number of APIs. As running individually, it's more time consuming, and there's a scope of more errors while you're running individually and then running over a large set of APIs. So that's why we use a collection, and to automate the collection, we use Newman. Newman is a command line interface tool of Postman where we can run a command in our command prompt, and which will run our collection. And there we have it can be configured to generate a report. We'll be showing how to generate a report in a HTML format in this video. There are other formats where it can be configured for other formats as well. But in this video, we'll be talking about how to run Newman and generate a HTML report for running a collection and viewing the results out of it. Now, so let's begin. So we've already mentioned quite a few terms, API and collection, and and also automating those collections. So let's begin with it. So what is an API? Now, API stands for Application Programming Interface. What is that? What do you mean by that? So what does that mean is like it's a set of rules that allows different software systems to communicate with each other. In other words, APIs will allow different programs to share data and functionality with each other within the certain framework, right? So you send a request seeking information to an application or a system, and based on the validity of the request, if it's a valid request and within the framework, the system will send us a response back with the requested information. Now, let's like for example, show here. Uh, so, for example, system A will send a request to system B with the request consisting of all the required fields and the mandatory fields and the requests in the right format which system B accepts, right? And so once that information is sent, system B, after validating it, if the request is valid, will send a response back to system A. And if it's successful, we get the response back along with the status. And the status here is like status equal to 200, which is okay, successful. When I say valid requests, what do I mean is like the fields, the data type, the data format, the message format, the body, the authorization, all these different parameters which we are passing along with the request should follow the requirements, or they follow the mappings. Once everything is valid, the system receiving that request will validate it and give the appropriate response back. In case of invalid request, we get like the status which we get back are 400, 403, 404, 500. 400 for bad data, invalid data, 403 for authorization, 404 for and 500 for like server not found, server error or something, 404 page not found, and so on and so forth. Now that is just a high level overview of like what an API does and like how we interact with the API. Now the second term I used was collection. What is a collection? So a collection, as the name suggests, it's a collection of something. It's a group of something. In this case, it's a group of APIs, a collection of APIs. So basically, like I mentioned earlier, basically what we'll be doing is we'll have our entire set of APIs, API requests, put all together into a collection, into one collection, so that our collection file will contain all our requests, and that file we'll be sending over to Newman, and then Newman will run the entire collection suite and give us a result in a report format, or in a command. Also, you can see the same result in console format as well. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. Uh, Let me just begin with showing how to create first an API, how to send an API, how to send a request, and what kind of response we'll get, and then we'll create a collection, create a bunch of APIs, put them into one collection, and then we'll run this collection using Newman. So let's begin. So next, what we'll be doing is we'll do four steps. One is create a request in Postman, send and get a response back for it. And once we have a successful request, we'll create a collection of requests, and then we'll export the collection. And the last step is we'll run the collection through Newman. So we're gonna do all these four steps, and let's begin. Now coming back to running the collections through Newman, uh, let's get started with here. So before that, I'll just show you a quick example of how to, how to run in case of just how to run how to send requests to APIs and how the response looks like. Uh, here I'm here I'm just sending this URL. There are like if you look into the if you look in Google, you get a lot of free public APIs. I've picked from so for this example, I'm just picking. I went to this site Epiphany, and there are like bunch of APIs where you can practice and test different things on your Postman. So I picked this particular URL and I'm sending that URL in my Postman. So I copy paste it here, and since so as the let's read the description here, right? So let's what does this API does to? So if you read, it says that this API basically gets a list of any or all. Sorry, it gives a list of public APIs basically, right? So it's a get, as the name suggests, it's a get. You get a list of any or all public APIs currently cataloged in the project. So basically, when you send this request, and if the request is correct, the response will have details of all the list of public APIs, and then so you consume those. And the second one here, another public API here is cat facts. So what does this API does is it gets, and I'll come back to what that means. So it gets random cat facts via text messages every day. So for that API, you need to reach this URL. So now we come back to our Postman. So in order to get a request and response, we come to Postman. We copy paste that URL. You paste here, and we are sending a get request. As since that API is defined as a get request. Basically, what get is like when you send a request like this, it receives information or gets all the information back for what, like in this case, it'll be all the entries here, all the public API entries. We'll get back those things. If it's a post, we are actually posting some information to the system. Now, in the get, we're getting information from the system, right? From where we are targeting here. So now all you have to do is like enter the URL here and just hit a send. So once you send it, as you see as a response here, there's a bunch of bunch of entries here with different APIs. Now, and as you can see here, this is the status I was talking about. So when it's successful, it's 200. Now, another test would be, and now we can now what we can do is we can copy this, we'll create another example out of it. I'll create a, let me do that. So let me just use this, right, and copy that and duplicate. So now we have two requests here. In this, uh, I'll just make the endpoint invalid, and now if you send this, what happens? So you see it's 404 page not found. So basically what this says is like it's trying to reach this URL, but this URL doesn't exist, or this endpoint is invalid. So it came back in response saying it's 404 page not found. Now we have two requests here. One was a successful one was a failure one. Now similarly we can have like bunch of other requests here. So what we can do if to get results, like to run and results, what we can run individually each request. Like you run this first, and then get a response, note is down, then you get another request and then note it down. But when you have a test suite, you might have thousands of APIs, right? So you're running individually, it's time consuming and probably there are bound to be more errors while you're executing your test cases. You're bound to maybe update or accidentally, make some mistakes with your request or response or storing the results. So that might lead to. So that's why what we try to do is we create a collection. We create a collection. So I'll go here and create a new collection. We're gonna name this collection down to say public API public API collection demo, right? So this is our collection called public API demo. Now what you're going to do is we're going to save that, so it's saved here. Now we'll add this the we'll add the APIs which we created into this collection, which you can just drag and drop here. Right, that's one, and then there was other one. And do this again, copy this and paste it again. So we have two. Now we can add more also, like I'm just copying pasting here just to create a bigger collection, just for example purposes. So we copy this and right. So now we have three, four. Let's have five. So we have five APIs. Now in real world, these will be all different test cases, but just for demo purposes, I'm having the same API, the one which successfully passed through. Right, and we can test this, so we get the same thing. So even the last one will have the same thing. Right, so it's passed. So all five test cases here are passing. So our collection, public API collection, has five test cases and is passing. So instead of running individually, you can run the collection, and the collection will run and run like all five together and give you results in a report. Now we can run this collection in Postman as well, but uh, in this demo, I'll show you how to run this in a Newman. Newman is a command line interface. Now, before you go there, how do you install Newman? So, to get Newman installed, what we need to do is first we need to install Node.js. Now, I'm getting this from Geeks for Geeks, but you can also go in there. So first, you need to install Node.js. And once you have installed Node.js, then you're going to do npm install of Newman. So you'll be installing npm. Once Node.js is installed, you go to a command prompt and then just type in this command npm install -g Newman, and then it's going to install Newman for you. And then once you have that, you come back to your command prompt, and then okay, before that, so you have a collection, right? So your collection, you need to export it to a folder. Let's just export this to a folder, say here. So I'm gonna do in C, under C Newman, I'm gonna save this collection, public API collection demo, right? Now this collection is saved. So now we go to a command prompt where, and then here go to the folder where your collection is stored. It's C Newman for us. So if you just type in there, you'll see our collection there. This file is there. So once Newman is installed, all you have to do is to Newman run, and then you just do the name of your collection. Just type it in, your name of your collection, and then hit enter. So once you hit that, Newman is going to run all your your requests, and then oh, okay, I think I ran the wrong one. Okay, so Public API lemon collection. So let's just see what's happening here. Uh-huh. Status is 200. Interesting. So why is it failing here? So public API errored certificate. Oh yeah, I need to uh, you need to generate the certificate here before we can run it. Okay. Yeah. So basically, it's erroring out because of a certificate error. There is a so all you need to do is add insecure at the end of your command to ignore it, so that Newman will ignore the certificate error. So let's just type this out. So you do Newman. Oh, let me just type it here. You go, yeah. So if you write Newman, your run collection, and then hyphen hyphen insecure. So once you run that command, it's gonna ignore the certificate error and run the collection. So hit that, and then now it will run the collection, and now you can see. So you can see this first iteration, all five requests, and all five test scripts are passed, and nothing failed. So this is one way of looking at it, and you can go here and look at each 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 request. What happens? Status code is 200. Status code is 200. Status code is 200. So since it's a pass, it's gonna run it. Now, now what we can do is now we can add one more test case here, right? So I added one more, and now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to error out like what we did before, and send is it's 404. Now we save it, and then we'll export this collection to the same. We'll just overwrite it to what it was before, right? We overwrite it. Yes, okay. And now let's go back to. So now what should happen is when we run our collection, it's gonna run, but it's gonna fail. It's gonna pass 5 and fail 1. There you go. No, assertion 3, but let's see. Fail 3, why? Maybe have multiple copies here. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, the last one failed because of 404. The other two were too many requests, and now that's it's a different kind of error. But as you can see, our the fail expected fail one did fail, and the others passed. Now we're gonna run again and see what happens if the request is going through or not. But let's run that again. It's a good thing because as you run multiple times, you come across different errors and you understand better why. If something is running, why is it failing? So the previous run we saw like it was having multiple requests in conjunction, so it couldn't process it. Let's just run again and just see this time what happens. And there you go. So this time it ran all six, right? One iteration and only one fail, and that's how it expected. So in between the second run where we saw it just kind of it was running multiple and just probably timed out. But now the second time, the last time when you ran this, it ran all six together, and all six were executed, and only one failed as we expected. So if you look in the details, it's gonna say all pass, and the last one which we expected, right? Which the one we 404, the same thing. It failed here with the 404. Now this is running, and this is good. It's running the entire collection, and we can, but we still have to scroll through each. and then to look at each individual message, and it's kind of cumbersome. It's not as ideal as we would like. So there is another option for that. So Newman also has a reporting capability, and for that we need to just add that plugin. Just have to the Newman reporter. We just have to install that. So for that we need to do just write the we need to send this command npm install -g Newman and reporter HTML. So this is for HTML reporter. There are other formats as well, but this one is npm install hyphen g Newman hyphen reporter hyphen HTML. So if you run this command in your command prompt, it's gonna install the HTML reporter, and you'll get something like this. And once that is done and installed, then you come back, and now if you run this, and well, all you can do is, like, do to get the report. All you have to do is do Newman run API, run your collection, and then do -r and HTML, I think, yeah, -r HTML, and then insecure to make it run. So now we hit this command. It's now, so like previous time, we saw all the individual requests being processed, but now we just see a return command, and we are not seeing the API is run. But what it has done is actually it's run everything in the background and run the collection, and now it's come back. So basically what we did in this command is we the same as the previous command, Newman run collection, but we added another parameter -r HTML. So this basically generates it runs the collection and stores the report in a HTML format. Now if you go to the same folder where we are running this, see Newman, you go there, go to the format, and there you see. See, you see this. That's the latest one. And if you open that, you will see the public API collection demo, and then you will see the exactly what we saw, right? The iteration it's a number of iterations one, number of requests processed six, that six test scripts of the six, one failed, and this report will give you the entire details of it. So this is the URL, it's a get method. This is status code receipt back is 200. It's passed. Right. Similarly, this, and for the last one, which is the one which failed. If you go to the last request, it's gonna say expected response to have status score of 200, but we got 404. So that's why this one failed. So that's how you generate a report using Newman, and then you can run your collection of APIs using Newman. You can schedule it also, I believe. You can run it, and you can generate a report in different formats, and it's a very convenient way of running a large number of APIs in a collection format, and get a report out of it for your automation. Hopefully this class was very useful for you guys. Thank you so much. Please look for other courses from this channel, and we'll be talking about how to run APIs and how to do performance and all the QA testing. Thank you so much. Thanks.